Hello and welcome to the round 8 leading into round 9 question and answer video for today. It is George from Fantasy Tech TV and we'll discuss a few topics, discuss how the game I think has opened up, how we play it from here on out. There's been a few obvious targets in the last few weeks. We'll see how we play it the next few weeks. The buys are coming up. We'll discuss Zach Butters, Darcy Cameron, Sean Darcy, Zorko, Dawson and Rioli versus Carroll versus Hamilton, so that should be some decent discussion. And yeah, in a hotel room for tonight, so yeah, pretty fortunate. Our work, every year we go to some, I think it's a conference where you just sit in a meeting room for 6 hours and you have they provide lunch and dinner and a few drinks and a quiz night at the end, so it's kind of nice. But yeah, I managed to have a glass of wine, so Discord knows I don't really drink, can't handle it at all. Did do a tequila shot in Melbourne when I went there and I thought I was going to die. So yeah, I'm a bit pussy when it comes to that, but yeah, I did enjoy the odd glass of wine. But obviously when you go to a hotel or a conference, you got to make the most of it. So that's about 15 pens here. So make sure, flogged all the pens when everyone was leaving. I went to the table, took the sanitizer as well, because why not? Because I remember a millionaire, I just watched on YouTube and some guy was saying to him, if you're a millionaire, but if you saw a quarter, like in America, if you saw a quarter on the street, would you pick it up? And he goes, sure, it's free money. Of course I would. So ever since then, in the younger days, you were kind of embarrassed to pick up 10 cents on the ground. But now, since I watched that video, I take free stuff every day of the week. So yeah, bunch of free stuff. Tore up some quiz, won a bottle of Shiraz. I never tried Shiraz, and I'll probably just give it to the old man because he likes booze, alcohol. So yeah, should be good. So, the topics for today. So, the game, I believe, for Supercoach has opened up because I feel like in the past few weeks, it's been, if you don't have Sicily or Cripps, you grab them. I guess some people had 5 defenders, so it's a bit hard for Sicily. If you didn't have Oliver, you grab Oliver. If you didn't have Parker, I think Parker was the play last week. And now there's no real obvious targets. There's a few in defense, a few in the midfield. Some people are running a cheaper ruck line and I'm not sure whether they want to pay up for Gorn. So I'm thinking with my team, I'm not really sure which way to go this week. We'll speak about Zach Butters, but I think it's basically get your rookies off the field. So wherever you're weakest, get them off. And if that means going for a defender over a mid, depending on your structure, because I assume everyone has, if you want to include Nick Martin, probably everyone has 6 forwards that are going 90 plus at the moment. If you want to include Butters, even though he's not, but it's interesting which way to go. I'm not sure whether I want to pay for a ruckman, and the Sean Darcy play could hugely pay off. Dane Zorko could pay off. We'll get to that, but first we'll speak about Zach Butters. So people are fed up with Zach Butters because they see 450s to his name, and how many more excuses? He's had probably genuine excuses for 2 games. The game where Sam Pepper hit him, he said he was felt like throwing up or something during that game, and he was looked at the bench and he wasn't in a good way, and then he had gastro, low time on ground. So if you take out those 2 games, off the top of my head, it'd probably be, 93, 94, 95 average, so really not that bad. And I guess the problem is this week he plays North, and if he goes well against North, which he should, and he said he's been disappointed with his form, it might put us into a false sense of security because people will say, oh, he did well against, you shouldn't have traded Zach Butters, but he played North, so he should still be capable of decent output. But when you look at the pick from a holistic point of view, his durability is not super great. The way he plays, I do worry. It's very reckless. Is it sustainable? Why does he keep running into trouble? I guess Sam Pepper and Gessler are pretty unlucky, those 2 incidents. But for me, in my video, I did trade him. I'll hold this week. I still don't think there's when I've had to think about it now, I don't think there's a good enough reason to trade him. I'm not sure he's premium or not, and I think we just assess him at the buy. If Bailey Smith and Bontempelli get forward status, he probably goes because you can't trust him on the field, and yet also the role isn't always going to be perfect with him. They want to persist with him in the midfield, but because of how reckless he is, what if they want to use him forward? What if they they're using Rosie more? I think Rosie feels like almost more secure than Butters in the midfield at the moment. So he's going to play midfield this week. They want to persist with that. Is he able to last that in the long term? I'm not sure. So for me, unfortunately, Butters, I say unfortunately because for me, I have 5 forwards in the moment averaging in the 90s, so a little bit difficult situation. Got to get rid of someone, but I will hold Zach Butters reluctantly, I think, because I'm a bit fed up because of, it's who knows what you're going to get from Zach Butters. So the ceiling is there, the preseason was there. I think you just hold. So move your other rookies off the field. The next player we'll speak about is Darcy Cameron, as we call, or as we say in the Discord, the ticket. So he averaged 77 last year as a forward and second ruck in a terrible team, which was Collingwood, who finished third bottom. That is pretty good. And when Grundy was out, Max Lynch was number 1 ruck. So this feels like Tim English all over again. And I'm not saying he'll perform at the level of Tim English, but his around the ground work is so good. He takes contested marks. Can't remember if he took intercept marks, to be honest. I think he would have, probably like on a wing or something, but yeah, able to take marks around the ground. Got smashed in the hitouts, but can go forward, kick a goal. So his CBAs aren't super high, but his ruck contests are pretty good. And Begg's time on ground, from memory, was pretty poor anyway. I think one of the games it was 55%. So I think he's the number 1 ruck for sure. And he's 370k, 380k, something like that. But he needs to go when Grundy comes back. And we're not really sure what his ceiling is. Or you can trade him in the last buy. So if you have excess trades, I would be all for trading Darcy Cameron in. I think I was speaking to Eno about it after the podcast, and I was trying to encourage him to trade him in, but I'm not sure he wants to. I'm not sure he's as sold as a pick as I am. So yeah, in fantasy and Dream Team, he's straight in for me. What can he average? Well, the way I think of it was he scored 200s, like 100 and 110 or something like that. And he's been losing the hitouts. And he gets Tim English or Steph Martin this week, who bleed hitouts to advantage. So that could mean that what if he gets a really good look at a lower ruckman? And there's a lot of them going around it. I'm not sure what his fixture is, so that's probably worth looking at. But I think the amount of marks and disposals he can get around the ground, and it's been 7 or 8 years as a second ruck. He's probably been waiting for this opportunity, and he wants to make the most of it. Can definitely get himself a contract, or other teams might be coming for him. It's a great opportunity for him, and I like what I've seen so far. His around the ground work is fantastic. Contested work, fantastic. So I like it. The problem is he needs to be traded, so he's not really a keeper, but his points on the field, I think the last buy is a good one in the buy. I think it's just Brody with that buy, basically. So, and if you have Connor McDonald forward, so there's really no one else in that buy from memory. So, unless you have a Degoe or something. So, I'm all for the Darcy Cameron pick. Even at the elevated price, he was a bit cheaper last week. Probably the last week to grab him, but just know that he has to be traded out. So, if you can, I would do it. The next player, Sean Darcy. Eno's mate. So, this is hard because he's starting to gain match fitness. You could see he was underdone in the preseason game. I don't think he even broke a sweat. He was basically jogging and walking around the ground and just getting a few hitouts to advantage. So we know that 20 hitouts to advantage on Goldstein. That's pretty significant. Goldstein's no slouch. So I guess it depends on your risk tolerance. And for me, his upside is actually, as bad as I am with injury-prone players, his upside, I think, is worth it. The good thing is we also have Sam Hayes at R3. So if he does miss a week, maybe we can get like a 70 from Sam Hayes. So we can see the ceiling, and you can see you're getting captain scores here. And I got a 180, and there's no reason he did it. I'm not sure how many. He would have gone 150 plus quite a few times, but the durability issue is a risk. Came back underdone, but I think he's starting to looks like he's getting a bit of match fitness now. The week off possibly helped him. So Freo are winning. Their midfield's good. He's the highest ceiling in the game, I think. Around the ground work, contested work, he can kick a goal. Hitouts to advantage, just dominates. Did struggle against Bruce, but I think Bruce has been beating just about everyone, so that's interesting. But after his bye, his fixture is disgusting, and he's borderline must-have material, I think, just because of his ceiling and what he can do and the captain scores he can provide. I still don't feel comfortable captaining because of his durability, but VC, we have cover this year. If you have English in the team, Sam Hayes should be at R3 probably till the buys, end of the buys, unless you're planning to move him to Gorn in his first buy or something like that. So when I created my starting team, the only exception I made for durability, apart from Whitfield, was Sean Darcy. But when he went down in the preseason, I took him out. So 600k is well unders. He could get to 700, but I guess it depends on your risk tolerance. I've thought about it, but I'm not sure. In my position, I think the risk is too high, but after the buy, I'll look at it. So the next one, Brayshaw versus Petrarca versus Sicily, all at a similar price. Petrarca's a bit cheaper. I think we'll start off with Brayshaw versus Petrarca. In fantasy, Brayshaw's scoring very well, but post-buy, Petrarca was a beast, and he has a really nice fixture the next two. So I think the tag might be shifted to Oliver, although tags seem to happen early in the year, and it seems to fade out as the year goes on. You might get one or two odd ones, but I think feels like no one's been tagged. Haley tagged Cripps, but it didn't really work. But a bit of a tough ask. So Cripps is in unreal form. So yeah, Brownlow form. So Brayshaw versus Petrarca. Honestly, I don't know. I can't really help you here. Whoever you prefer. I guess Brayshaw had a 1 week calf issue last year. Petrarca had a minor knee issue, but other than that, their durability is pretty spotless. So durability is probably even, I guess. Petrarca's ceiling, I think, is a bit higher. I think Brayshaw had an early kill and an easy kill against North this week. So I think Brayshaw's 120 average in fantasy, but was inflated by that 180 he scored. Honestly, I think I'd probably take Brayshaw just. I've thought about this. I probably flip-flopped a bit, but the one major thing with Brayshaw is his contested ball. Not contested ball. His disposal. So we saw Petrarca have a negative ratio this weekend. Very frustrating. 118 or 115 fantasy, 106 Supercoach. So I think that's probably the only reason. But Petrarca did clean it up. So in the back half of last year, it just crept back into his game. Petrarca's floor should be lower, although he had one poor game, but just because of the contested ball winning. Brayshaw does not win a whole lot of contested ball. It's more tackles, marks, and stuff like that. So honestly, there's nothing in it. And if you want to go Sicily over these two, it's fine. It just depends on the rookie you're getting off the field. I figure if you have Greg Clark over whoever your D6 is, even Dacos, I'd probably go for Sicily and field a Greg Clark at M8. So I don't think I was much help at all there. It's just whoever you prefer. So it depends on the rookie with Sicily. And then, but yeah, I think Brayshaw and Petrarca, I think from here on out, I think they can both go 115 from here on out. And Sicily probably goes 108 to 111, something like that. The next player is Dane Zorko. So I was listening to Selby or Moreira's Magic on the Supercoach official podcast with Tim and Al and Dan Batten, I think. So yeah, they do a good job there. And he was saying that when he was watching Zorko, he still had a little bit of a limp, but he's still getting through the games okay. And maybe it's a similar case to Callum Mills, where he was getting taped up during games, but he was still playing completely fine. But the time on ground wasn't super great. Actually, I probably should have checked his time on ground. I think it's been going up and up and up though. So we've seen his scoring. It's like especially his fantasy scoring. He scored a 170 last year. Ceiling is so high. For me, I feel fine taking other alternatives, even if you have to pay up for more. So I would take Crisp over Zorko. I'd take Dawson over Zorko. Dawson had calf soreness in the preseason. That's literally all he's had. He played 22 or 20 plus games a few times now. So I am all for Jordan Dawson over Dane Zorko. Zorko has the higher ceiling, but Dawson in that role that he played on the weekend. So we saw in the first quarter, played a bit half-back, moved into a wing and was able to push up into stoppage and, able to make plays, going inside 50. And taking marks all around the ground. His mark count is very, very high, keeps his floor high. Only one score below, I want to say like 95 or something like that, which was the 80, which was the game where Billy Frampton scored like 130 or something. Like him and Duday were just marking everything down back, and Dawson was down back, and they just simply took all the points. I think that was the case there. So Dawson in this role, I think conservatively 105, and I think Zorko somewhere between 105 and 110. Maybe both of them between 105 and 110, but maybe Dawson went 115 in a similar role last year, so I think it was 50-50 mid and wing. Pretty sure that was the case for Dawson, but who would I take of the two? Well, I'm taking Jordan Dawson this week. He's 100% coming into my team. And the risk, you got to remember, Zorko is 33, a bit of soft tissue history lately, but not too bad. So he's been durable for a long time. So even Pendlebury. So the risk with players that are at this age is they might tail off. We saw Pendlebury's form tail off a bit last year, but then he came back and started doing well again and hurt his leg. So that's always the risk with players at that age. Some players like Tom Hawkins, they just won't decline, which is quite phenomenal. But for me, Dawson is slightly lower risk, and I just prefer him as a player anyway. But yeah, Zorko is playing very well. And does Zorko stay in that mid-forward role? He played really well in it, and I don't see why they take him out. But if they start winning and they're in a good spot in games, maybe they just sit him forward, which I'm just making up. I'm not sure they actually do that. Did play West Coast on the weekend. I have no interest in Zorko. I know the ceiling's high. I don't like the durability or the age. So I'm taking Jordan Dawson. And then finally, Rioli versus Carroll versus Hamilton. So I watched all three. Watched Rioli. He gets to the right spots. He played okay. I guess it was a bit of a landslide in the last quarter where he's able to vulture a few goals. It's probably more the case in the first game though, but I don't think he scores much. I look at the VFL form and I think he's going to drop a 30 pretty soon. And we saw with the Roses, when you drop such a bad score in your third and fourth game, it really kills your short-term cash gen. His job security, I think John Ruff was saying, he's definitely playing, his job security is quite good. Richmond supporters, and has been saying his job security is quite good. So that probably puts him first for me. I wouldn't want him anywhere near my field. I don't want any of these on my field at this point of the year, to be honest. But if I had to field one, it would be Carroll. Didn't do anything in the first quarter, so played a mixture of inside and out. Probably more out and pushed into stoppage, but I really didn't notice him a whole lot. He did a few marks and kicks here and there. Really classy ball user. Just looks good, looks comfortable at the level, which is important. But he's played in 2 massive wins against the Crows and I think North. And George Stewart has to come in, and does that push him out into a less friendly role? That will hurt his midfield rotations or his ability to get the ball inside the contest. So I think his time on ground was 70-ish, I want to say, something like that. So for me, as my phone says low battery, just fix that. I quite like Carroll. I like him slightly over Rioli, but the problem is I think Rioli's DPP is going to be very useful, I think. In terms of swinging that player down to get rid of Durden when he's ready, you put Rioli down. So Rioli versus Carroll, it's a hard one. So job security is probably Rioli, then Hamilton, then Carroll. I think all three will get a run though. So I think we said on the podcast, Hamilton has Fahey possibly taking the spot there. Hamilton did nothing after half time, and in total, I think I said it was Rioli first, then Carroll, then Hamilton. One of the main reasons is Hamilton's time on ground is good. You hear all these great things about him being a great athlete, good endurance, comes into the club, wins a time trial. The extra year in the system, I think, is a big difference. So for me, Rioli or Carroll, and if you need the money, I guess you could go Hamilton. But I feel a bit more secure with, if you want to bring someone in now, they need to play through the buys because you're not getting rid of them before the buys. You need their scores through the buys, and it might not net you a lot of points, but if these guys can pull 40s or 50s in their buy rounds, and you're struggling because we get COVID outs. Well, that's 100 points over 2 weeks. So I think it's Rioli, then Carroll, then Hamilton. But to be honest, I don't really want to pick Rioli because I'm worried that he's going to kill his cash gen. So you are completely fine if you fade all three. And we can get another look at Cooper Stevens or just grab Greg Clark and look at Buku Kalmas next week because I think Buku played well and they have a few forward injuries. Buku's a bit taller than the players that went down. He's 190. I think Waitman and Vandermeer are a bit shorter than that. So I think if you didn't want to go for any rookies, I think it's fine. I do like Cooper Stevens. I like his scoring power a lot better than these three. Carroll's shown some decent scoring power though, but I think Geelong have a few players coming back in, so see how they go. Maybe Nevitt goes out for Selwood before Cooper Stevens. So yeah, hopefully that helps at all. I think, yeah, I'm excited about next week, Greg Clark and Cooper Stevens, a lot more than these three. And then Buku, yeah, we're going to need excess cash down back. So that's all from me. Thanks for watching. And yeah, I do apologize I didn't get to the question and answer last week. I was a little bit unwell, plus short for time. I was supposed to do a collaboration with Shorty, down at Shorty Supercoach. But yeah, early that morning, I was just a little bit off. I had something on as well, which I didn't even end up going to. So yeah, do apologize for that, but we'll get that done hopefully next week. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.